Hi, my name is Sukhdeep and this is my interview assignment. I actually chose to interview one of my psychology professors. I got to know him on a better basis during the past few years. His name is Dr. Ronald Cheese. He's also the undergraduate program director of the writing department. And for the purpose of this study, I'll be focusing on the academic counseling that he provides as a job duty for being one of the undergraduate program directors. I'm just going to quickly start off with his personal story with respect to teaching and advising as a whole. Specifically, with respect to why he got into teaching, he's always interested in the methods used to teach, and he's always quite curious on how we could improve these methods to maximize students' academic potential. Moving on to his role as an academic counselor, the undergraduate program director serves as a counselor to those students looking for advice in relation to their academic careers. He also assists students with developing such skills as time management and studying, which is essential for maximizing academic potential. Just giving you an example of what a typical day or a typical scenario could look like. A student could come in hoping for advice or some sort of help on whether they should maybe switch their course load, reduce their course load, or maybe changing programs altogether. So aside from the technical help that I just discussed, there's also support and encouragement provided for students so they can help achieve their goals. I'll give you a good example that he gave me. Those students in stressful situations, they tend not to think logically or coherently sometimes and make very rash decisions. So someone in his position could help view those things more rationally and more clearly, allowing for better decisions to be made with respect to their academic careers. And this is something he's been doing with me for the last few years, so I can speak volumes to that. So moving on to one of the first important skills or traits you can say is empathy. As we were talking, he talked about the importance of empathy and how it's really important to understand the students' respective backgrounds and diverse goals, and then be able to act accordingly to meet those unique needs, because every day is situationally dependent. So one day you'll get a different type of student where a certain type of plan will have to be set in motion. Another day it can vary immensely. So definitely situational dependent. And it's also important to communicate that understanding of the fact that you understand the unique needs and the unique goals, and that in that way they're able to see that you understand it. They become more receptive to you, and they would more likely disclose information that they would otherwise not. And empathy, just talking about, it requires a deep insight into the individual's goals and motives, as well as a concrete understanding of their particular situation, like I just outlined. And in showing empathy in academic counseling, you can't just make assumptions on how the student is feeling or what their thinking processes are, because they could be quite different from you or me. So that kind of shows you the importance of empathy, in that for you to truly help them, you can't have your own biases or your own thoughts kind of contaminate the process in itself. So just a quick example on how maybe the writing department as a whole were empathic to the students taking up writing. There's this big problem of those getting into writing, and that there wasn't enough jobs in the workforce, or they weren't ready to enter the workforce. So what they actually ended up doing was, at the writing department at York U, they changed the curriculum so that courses and instructors, the material they were teaching was more inclined to the workforce. So once they finished their degree, they would be better prepared for the workforce. And this whole process, it consisted of evaluating their goals and desires and putting an appropriate plan into an effect. Another trait we discussed was the trait of genuineness. He believed that the more genuine and honest you are with another person, the more receptive they are to you. And as a result, they would disclose more details that they would not otherwise do, which overall gives you a better insight on the person, their situation, and their challenges that they have to face, which then gives you better ammunition for preparing a plan and putting it into effect. Okay, so moving on to another trait that Professor Schiess thought was integral to the academic counseling process was that of cultural awareness, and that's especially needed in such a diverse city such as Toronto. He believed that students are going to face different challenges and understand things differently, and our jobs as academic counselors, or his job as an academic counselor, is to be conscientious of that and act accordingly. So just a quick example that he gave me through his experience as an academic counselor pertaining to cultural awareness. Those students from Asian cultures don't usually like regular eye contact or direct eye contact during meetings. So that's something he's always stayed away from, as opposed to predominant Western culture where that's considered an appropriate norm. We talked about foresight as well in our discussion, in that it develops through years and years of experience where you're able to kind of dissect what might work in potential situations, but the catch here is to always realize that each situation is unique. So you can use the building blocks there, but you would have to add on depending on whatever the situation calls for. Okay, so switching topics now on to Professor Schiess's actual values and beliefs pertaining to the school system. He always believed that people value themselves on getting better, and this is the approach that he takes as an academic advisor. That people pride themselves on, taking strides every day, making themselves better, whether it be academic, socially, athletically, just as a whole. And he used that to drive his kind of therapy or his regular meetings. He also believed judgment or decisions cannot all be made in a black and white sense, where, especially in counseling setting, where one answer is right, one answer is wrong. Just to give you an example, he believes that those who purposely plagiarize shouldn't be severely punished for the academic penalty, but rather taught to kind of acknowledge the merits of producing individual quality work. So this kind of view he undertakes, I would say, is more of a liberal perspective, where he's looking at how we can kind of help the person deal with the problem and better themselves, as opposed to discarding them entirely. So this belief that people value themselves on getting better, he believes is why people actually come to academic counseling in the first place, to meet with these regular meetings. He believes they're there to reach their academic goals, and as an academic counselor, it's his duty to kind of, through a collaborative way, come up with steps and a process to get there. Okay, so switching gears now, he pointed me to a theory called the common factors theory, which is actually used in a practitioner-client relationship, or actually accepted, and it's something he felt is also prevalent in his regular meetings. So I'm gonna go through the four components of the theory. I can show you how both of them would relate in an academic counseling sense and in a professional relationship sense. First component, an emotionally charged confiding relationship with a helping person. So this involves the student coming to the advisor for the help. Second component is healing context, so that meeting is there to mediate the situation. Third component is a rationale that provides a plausible explanation for the client's problems and how to resolve them. So this is the work that's done between the advisor and the student, where they come up with this collaborative plan to attack whatever challenges the student is facing. And a fourth component, is a procedure that involves active participation of client and therapist, and is believed by both to be a means of restoring health. So this kind of strays off a bit, but the overall goal here is to reach some sort of successful outcome through a collaborative process. So that's my interview assignment, and I just want to thank all you guys for listening.